Hey guys, welcome to part 10 of Easy Food series. In this video, we will save the meals into the database that we have built in the previous video. So as you can see, when we go to any meal, we have this button, favorite button, which allows the user to save that meal into favorites. So when we go back and open up our favorites fragment, we should see all the favorite meals in this fragment. So let's start saving meals into our local database. So the first thing you want to do is to add a dependency ViewModel scope for curtains, because we use suspend function in the meal DAO. So go to your build Gradle and now open up your browser and search about ViewModel scope dependency. Then click on the first search result, and as you can see, this is the dependency you want to copy. Go back to Android Studio. Now implementation, and add a dependency in here, then click on sync now. Alright, now we want to write our functions in the view model, and now we're gonna write the insert function inside the meal view model. So open that view model, and in here you're gonna have, and in here the first thing you want to have is an instance from your database. So inside the constructor, you're gonna have an argument meal database, which is meal database, and we will pass this argument from the activity later in this video. So now let's write the function to insert meal, and as I said, we're going to use curtains, and the scope you want to use inside the view model called ViewModel scope. Now I'm gonna launch this, and of course we want to pass the meal that we want to insert in this function, and in here I'm gonna call the meal database. We can't call it because we have to put val in here. So now meal database dot meal DAO, then dot insert, or upsert actually, and now you will pass the meal, and that's all for this function. Now we're going to have another function to use, which is delete, and you will pass meal of type meal, and then ViewModel scope dot launch, and you want to call that function to delete a meal from the meal DAO. So delete, and you will pass the meal. So these are the two functions we need for now. We will need another function to read all the meals, but we will create that function in a later video. So now we want to use the insert function whenever we click on the favorite button. But before that, we want to have a ViewModel provider factory so we can pass this parameter to the constructor. So let's create that. Go to your ViewModel package and create a new class. Call it meal ViewModel factory. Create a function. We're gonna inherit from ViewModel provider.factory, and of course we wanna pass an instance from our database, and this argument is going to be meal database. And now you need to implement create function inside this class. So click on OK, and now we're going to return an instance from the meal view model, and we will pass the meal database, and we will cast it as T. And I'm gonna change this to private like that, and you're done with this class. So now go to your meal activity, and now we're going to change some stuff in here. So we're not gonna initialize our view model like that. So delete this, or I'm gonna comment it, and first I'm gonna create an instance from our database. So val meal database equals meal database dot get instance, and you need to pass the context, which is this. Also, we want an instance from the ViewModel factory we just created. So val ViewModel factory equals meal ViewModel factory, and you need to pass the meal database. And finally, instead of this line, we're gonna use ViewModel provider provider like that. And you need to pass the ViewModel store owner, which is this, and also you need to pass this ViewModel factory. Then .get, and you will pass the ViewModel class, which is meal ViewModel, and of course you want to pass the class. Now another way in Kotlin, you can replace it with this bracket. Now your ViewModel is ready, so now we can save meals. So for that, in here I'm gonna have another I'm gonna have a function on favorite click, create that function, and in here I'm gonna use binding.button add to favorite to set on click listener. Now we wanna use the ViewModel, which is meal ViewModel, I guess. Yes, meal MVVM dot insert meal, and you need to pass the meal. We get the meal in this function, so I'm gonna have value meal or private var meal, and this initially equals to and this of type meal initially will equal null, and I'm gonna assign this meal inside this function. So meal, but I'm gonna change the name of this meal to save, for example, or any name you want. Then meal to save equals the meal we have in this function. Now inside the click listener function, first I'm gonna make sure that the meal is not equal to null. If it's not null, then we can save that meal. For that, meal to save (let), and now we can call the insert function. So now meal MVVM dot insert meal, and we will insert it reference to the meal, which is meal to save. So after I save that meal, I want to toast a message this, and I want to tell the user that we have saved the meal. So meal saved. Now let's run the app. For example, now I'm gonna click on this meal and try to save it. And as you can see, meal saved, that means we have saved this meal in the database successfully. Now one more thing I want to show you before I end this video is a way that you can locate your database file in the emulator and see all the meals or all information about your database. So let's see how to do that. And first you want to install this software which called DB Browser for SQLite. This is basically a database software for SQLite which is used in Android Studio, so you need to download it. As you can see, you can download it for Windows 32-bit or for 64-bit. Also you can download it for Mac or Linux, so choose your option. After you download it, run your emulator, then you can save any meal. We already saved meal, and now I'm gonna save another meal saved. Now what I want to do is to locate the database file and open it through that software to see all the tables I have created and all the meals that's stored in that table. So for that, click on Device File Explorer, then make sure to select the emulator that you are running right now, and then extend the data file. Then you will see another data file, extend it. Now you need to find your application package name, and to get your application package name you can go to your build Gradle, then you can see that application ID, and here is your, so you need to find it between all of these apps. And as you can see, here's our project com.example.easyfood. So extend that file, and as you can see, you can notice that we have a file called databases. Now right click on this file, then save as, and save it on your desktop, for example, or in any directory you want. So on desktop. Now if we go to that desktop, as you can see, this is our database. Now open DB Browser and click on Open Database. Now choose the database, meal database that we just exported from Android Studio. Click on Open. Now as you can see, you should see these three tables. We have two tables that was generated by room, and we have our own table which represent the entity, and we called it meal information. So let's see all the attributes in that table. As you can see, here is all the attributes, and if you notice this yellow key, that means the ID meal is the primary key. We have saved 2 meals in this table, so let's see if we actually can see 2 meals. Click on a browse table, and as you can see, yes, we have 2 meals. So now you know that everything actually works just fine, and I wanted to show you this trick because it's useful in some cases. So that's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching this series. I hope you have a great day. See you in the next video.